Jacob,
Hello.
you don't
What?
have to give a fucking 10-second long countdown. You can just make it 3 or 4 seconds.
I started the podcast. I said hello, and that was gonna be the beginning of the pod. I wasn't gonna do a countdown at all. Actually,
Start
fuck it.
from
We're rolling
30.
right now. We're rolling right now. This is the
The
Scorpion
pod,
Podcast,
the
Fuck off.
podcast
After
introduction.
Hours episode. Welcome everybody. It
Yeah.
has been a while since we actually had the opportunity to like talk by
Why is there a fucking
ourselves.
whiteboard
Yeah,
up?
why are we seeing this whiteboard? What the
Hey,
fuck?
I didn't start a whiteboard. It's been a
Bro,
while since we actually had the opportunity to talk amongst ourselves and sort of discuss the stuff
what
that's
is
been
this,
happening
bro?
around the show. And we figured this would be a good opportunity to do so. So yeah, please, please turn off the what? No. This is
Bro, who turned this
horrible.
on? What the fuck is this? Oh, bro, what are you drawing? Is that, are we about to get banned? Oh,
Imagine he imagine he joins back and he's just like, hey, I forgot to tell you guys something.
Sorry.
amazing.
This is still recording. I don't know what to say or do.
Yeah, the Sistine Chapel was just completed. No, I think that was a perfect introduction to the podcast, to be honest.
Start the recording because we fucked it up already.
No, we have to keep that. We have to keep that drawing.
No, I can't even upload it.
Wait, bro, but
Okay.
can I ask you how have your views changed? I mean, how much of this is YouTube friendly? If we
Oh,
can.
well, it's mostly YouTube friendly because it mostly has to do with philosophy.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
said mostly
We can
twice. What's the other part?
hmm?
Like you said mostly philosophy, mostly YouTube friendly.
Oh, well, politics, but I'm
Hmm.
not gonna use any anti-YouTube language, but I'll find a way of saying what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's changed politically? What was it? I
So,
don't know you at all, so actually I don't know what you thought or what you think. So
oh,
Yeah. Damn, bro.
okay.
Here's some lore is gonna have to be
Yeah.
delivered today. Fuck, there's a
Yeah.
lot of it,
So,
bro. There's a lot.
yeah. So, back then, okay, so my whole life, I've pretty much been an atheist, and for the, entirety of that, until I was about 16, the logical conclusion I came to was essentially like nihilism or whatever. Um, and when I was about 16, there was like I just had issues like living, and I was reading a lot at the time, and I found this author called Kierkegaard, right? So I got really into Christianity, and I was very into it for a few years, and then I pretty much one day I just realized like, what the fuck am I doing? Like I don't even like epistemologically, I don't even like agree with this because he posits that you have to base your truth on like a leap of faith. And I was like, well, that's just stupid because you're if you're taking a leap of faith, um you're basically believing something without any real reason to. um and so I completely stopped doing Christianity, and so that took me away from like more Christian aspects of my political philosophy as well as my philosophy in general, which would be like
yeah.
Platonism, scholasticism. And since then I've developed somewhat of a philosophical framework, which it might be in another author, or I just have not found them yet, but I've got influences like Schopenhauer, Wittgenstein, Karl Marx, uh, a lot of influences, but strangely, my actual political views have gone from like where they were a year ago to um strangely more extreme. So back then I was more in for favor of like something like corporatism and self-determination, and now I've completely changed my mind into more of like a state capitalist, like Xi Jinping thought, kind of economic view, and
Yeah.
kind of the same view on culture, but very different at the same time. Like basically, I think that the that multiculturalism is like the biggest roadblock to achieving what needs to happen to you know continue the progress of history, because I've read Putnam, right? And in Putnam,
Rolling along.
he
Yeah.
yeah he has this paper called E Pluribus Unum. Also, he also talks about this in Bowling Alone. In Bowling Alone, it's more like multiculturalism destroys like social cohesion and social bonds, but he in E Pluribus Unum he extrapolates that onto economics, right? So he did a study, and multicultural unions, and like under a multicultural business, it became increasingly difficult to form labor unions. And if you look at Jeff Bezos read this paper, and now he's putting a ton of fucking money into H-1B programs and such, so that they can get people into like the Amazon factories to crush labor unions from before they even start fully organizing. So that's pretty much my view. I mean, if you look at I mean, I've also been influenced by, the Eddas and such things, um,
Mhm.
in terms of just views on culture and also on history. Like there's a view in Norse paganism that I actually find very similar to, dialectical materialism, in that in paganism you kind of worship your ancestors, and that's kind of part of the religion. Whereas in dialectical materialism, it's like you have a process of history which you learn from and participate in, right, by organizing politically and such. So a synthesis between those two would pretty much, well, first I have to talk about something else, which is, if you're familiar with Darwinian evolution, right? There's in like more developed schools of Darwinian evolution, there's a concept called Hamilton's law, which is, if I am like an individual, my prerogative is to spread my own genetics, right? So if I have a family member or somebody who's biologically similar to me, part of the same like nationality, then it increases the likelihood of altruistic behavior, so I can get them to reproduce, and then thus spreading my genetics because we're genetically very similar, right? So
Mhm.
where was I going with this? Um, so the main prerogative of life, if you're taking it from a actually, Heidegger was actually very right about thrownness. So
Yep.
if you
Definitely.
think about life in this way, your life has no like intentionality behind it being created, but it has a directive, and the directive is pretty much to reproduce. So there's no
Yeah.
it's like there is a meaning to life, but it's not something that we are endowed with by like a heavenly being. It's just, the way it is, like a rock. If there's a rock at the top of the hill, and gust of wind blows it down the hill, its prerogative is to end up at the bottom of the hill. but that doesn't
Mm.
mean there was an intelligent design behind it doing such. That's just what it is seeking to do. So in human nature, you're always going to want to benefit those who are of your nationality. And if you are ever to achieve, a more equitable economic stance, then it has to be under um, kind of a mono-ethnic society.
Mm.
And that's pretty much the political side of my philosophy. As far as epistemology, metaphysics, and such,
Here's the thing. What if you like don't give a shit about your nationality? Like the same, well, not your nationality, I would say, but like I would say it's more of like, because nationality can be defined as being like Canadian or American. Like,
mhm.
what if you don't care about your nation? Because me particularly, like most of my genetics come from Poland. I
Well,
could
it's
not
race,
care less
really, not
about,
nationality. I guess
Or
that's what it really
ethnicity.
comes
yeah,
down
I
to,
could
is
not
what you
care
look
less about
like.
what happens to Poland, though. I
But I
couldn't
mean,
care
Yeah,
less about what happens
I
to people
guess
who have like Polish genes.
but
Like
what do
it
you care
doesn't,
about your family?
well, I do, but that's because they're so closely like related to me and they're people
Yeah,
that I
so
was
this is
raised
the
by.
I
classic.
think
There's like a personal
I think you
connection
guys.
there. I don't feel that
Okay,
sense, and I guess there's a sort of familial connection with people that I share genes with, like cousins and uncles and aunts, even though
Mhm.
I don't know them that well. But when you extrapolate it to people who are like second or third or fourth cousins, arbitrarily, I don't really give a shit.
well, I mean,
Like
I
that
guess
may be
the thing
wrong.
is,
There's a lot of ground I think you guys are missing.
if
I'm gonna let you riff this out a little bit more though. There's
Well,
something I have to say.
I
Rafa,
think that's
Rafa,
mostly
And
due.
I
yeah,
think
like
Pearson and I have read some works that you guys might not have read. One time that
it's
Keith Woods pipeline. But
it
no,
just comes
go ahead,
down
guys. Yeah.
it just comes
Um,
down to being more comfortable with people who are the same race as you. Like if you're in a room with a person of every race, you talk to the white guy. But I mean, Pearson, to be honest, I mean, I think I think it's natural for humans, right, to kind of
mhm.
crave this familiarity, right? We are drawn to people who look like us, right? We're drawn to people of the same ethnicity, right? And I think at first it's much easier to make progress with people who look the same as us, just because that's what humans are kind of adapted to do, right? Like I just learned about
Mhm.
this through like parochial altruism, right? The tendency, like humans evolve by having in groups, right? Like the
Mhm.
only way we were able to kind of better ourselves was by having an enemy, right? And that enemy was usually other humans who look different than us, right? We develop differences in order to become stronger, right? But that's not the end goal, right? Like a mono-ethnic like state isn't one that's fully like it can make more progress, right? Because of the similarity between the people, right? But in terms of like progress evolutionarily, like societally, you would look at a diverse society that's able to overcome those differences as one that's kind of like
I
more
mean,
progressive, kind of more
Rafa,
advanced.
I mean, Rafa, relating to what you're saying, like I think Poland actually is like the perfect example because it is a mono-ethnic society where 99.8% of people are the same ethnicity. The only problem is the people that are the same ethnicity are all retarded. So it's not like you can build
Yeah.
like a really great society on top
Yeah,
of it if
Well,
the
that's
people
because the
themselves don't
Polish
have an
people.
incentive to do it, if the
that well,
geographic
that's the
position isn't the
thing. It
greatest, if
has
you don't have
nothing.
access to resources.
It has nothing to do with like the kind of people themselves. It's just like people can get along better. People can form labor unions easier because they're the same color, they speak the same language, they have the same culture, right? But I think it's a mark of an advanced society for a group of people to be able to overcome those barriers, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
yeah.
But
So like a mon
I don't think it's possible to overcome something that's hardwired back so far back in the evolutionary chain. I don't think that's possible.
but
And if you look,
that's the end goal of any species, really, right? Is to overcome what's been programmed into it evolutionarily. Like that's what humans do all the time, right? Like, I mean,
no,
I mean, we
yeah,
are evolutionarily
absolutely.
programmed to like kill other humans as well.
I would
Yeah,
yeah.
refuse
that's
to
the
go
thing.
that
We
far.
try to get over our
So,
tendencies towards violence, our tendencies toward like sexual aggression, our tendencies to, right, chase like the next, like we have like phones and
well, actually,
dopamine now,
humans don't
right?
have
We
a
have to
tendency towards
constantly
sexual
overcome things.
aggression. Humans don't have a tendency towards sexual aggression.
For
That's
what?
not.
I
It's actually
mean,
like a negatively selected for trait because if you look at why, here's the thing. if a woman's body is rejecting you, if her brain's rejecting you, this is really weird, but this is true. If her brain and her body are rejecting you, that means that she does not want to pass on your genes. In order to get the most prime way to get a woman pregnant is inseminating after she orgasms, right? You know this? So if
Why the
she's
fuck would
rejecting,
anybody know
No.
this?
because
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
weird.
Let's
huh,
go.
why is this? Why do we think this is wrong when it would help us promulgate ourselves? But it actually doesn't, because you're being pretty much genetically rejected. Well, not necessarily genetically, but overall rejected. So it has led
Okay, so you're saying that it's more
humans
evolutionarily beneficial for sexual
not re-
sexual relations
Yeah,
to be
that makes
consensual.
sense. You
Yeah.
know, that's
If that's what you're saying,
okay.
then that makes
That
sense, arguably.
that's
Yes.
that's a bad example, right? Sexual aggression, right? I'm not really honed in on,
Just like the
negative
bad stuff that
evolutionary
humans have
traits, but
done. Yeah.
but you mean there's some bad shit programmed into us because we're animals, right? Like, but everything we've built up today, right? Like everything around us, it's not natural, right? It's just like consequence of overcoming a lot of different evolutionary traits. And I mean, I think as you go further as an advanced, like an intelligent advanced species, you kind of like knock these things down one by one, right? Like if unless it's absolutely impossible, right, for an intelligent species to overcome what's programmed into it evolutionarily, right, which it's not, because we've proven that to ourselves, right, then it's only natural for a more advanced species to have overcome bigger evolutionary hurdles, right? And one of those bigger hurdles is monoethnicism and our kind of like draw towards that. So just because it's easier to us because of who we are naturally doesn't mean it's a mark of a progressive society. I think it's actually the opposite.
Okay. So your argument against that is basically that just because it's natural does not mean it's good, right?
Yeah.
I would argue against that, and I would say just if something is natural, then that means it's evolutionarily selected for.
That would
Yeah.
require the argument that evolution is infallible.
Yeah, there's a lot to have to say here.
Evolution in a way is infallible over like millions and millions and millions of years. Of course, it's going to get better over the course of millions and millions and millions of years, but you know, every gene that is selected for, the reason why we have it is because that survived over other genes. So it's not perfect.
I don't
but
completely
it's
I
agree with
just, to
that.
be honest,
how did
I've
the
always
gene
thought
so
this.
how did
I've
the
always
gene
thought
of
this,
talk
like,
how did the gene of talking a lot survive in Jordan's family?
Probably his dad was well, his ancestors were probably
Throwing mad
like
riz, yeah, but
no
is that
no no, they
infallible?
were probably
it
working
led
at
to social
auctions. They were
cohesion.
probably working at auctions, like his Russian ancestors were probably selling potato stew or whatever in like an auction. They
There's
were
a
like,
lot. There are many
so
mistakes.
say it's a potato stew or soup or some kind of thing like this, some kind of thing like this, like a soup or a stew, or that's probably what his great grandfather was doing. So
They were naming all the synonyms for the stew that they were selling. Yeah.
yeah.
Rafa, you were gonna say something.